Welcome to the Sportscast, March 28th, 2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe all your channels, YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter, and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. And if you have Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. And, of course, visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net, or go to our app for iOS in the Apple App Store, the Sportscast. What a week last week in sports. NFL free agency took over. Of course, the March Madness people are pretty upset about it, but it is the NFL, the number one league in the country, maybe in the world. It depends who you ask. And, of course, a man that just hosted a show last night, Hoops Talk, Ryan Christa. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Santiago, it's good. It was a nice show with guest star Luke Hangrody joining me and Erwin last night. But a lot happening all around sports, not just in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot going on in the world of sports. Let's go into which you can catch Hoops Talk every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or you can check it out later in the podcast. So search for Hoops Talk in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher, and you can find it there. All right, so let's go into the nuts and bolts of the show. Tyreek Hill, a Chiefs go-to star wide receiver, is heading to the Miami Dolphins. Which makes me happy because I'm from Miami, so this is a good thing for multiple draft picks. Ryan, what were your thoughts over this trade?
Surprising, but kind of makes sense. Dolphins looking to add more weapons, kind of win now mentality, try to catch up with the Bills, give Tua as much chance as possible. And the Chiefs, I think when Devontae Adams got that deal with the Raiders, I think something clicked with Tyreek Hill saying, that's the type of player I am. I should be getting that type of money. So him and the Chiefs went to the bargaining table, and I think after talking contract terms, they both sides realized they're not going to get to a point that each side would be happy with. So I think they look to kind of deal him while he's still hot. Tyreek's, a unique guy, obviously skill set off the roof, but immense amount of character flaws, kind of a dangerous character, but a chance at Dolphins I think we're willing to take to improve their team.
Yeah, off the field antics. I don't hear much about him, but apparently some people in the inside do hear about it. As Ryan said, Devontae Adams was probably the major situation that caused Tyreek Hill to move out of Kansas City. Ryan, please explain, why is the Devontae Adams move affected Tyreek Hill to Miami?
Well, I think, Tyreek Hill kind of sees himself as the same type of echelon wide receiver, same star power. And he saw that contract that Devontae Adams got from the Las Vegas Raiders. And he immediately said, that's what I want. I want to be up with the top paid wide receiver. And, in the world of salary caps, and you got a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who makes, fair salary for a quarterback, it's hard to keep, and keep all the weapons. It's players will come and go. You got to build around your quarterback, and the Chiefs, I think, had to come to terms that, it's hard to pay two top level players and, maintain a good roster along with that. So, in turn, they're able to send them away and get a lot of capital. And then the way the NFL, with this, salary cap on draftees, if you can strike gold on, a wide receiver or, you can really build a team quickly. Just look at the Bengals with Joe Burrow, second year. And then they go and get Jamar Chase. Look at the productivity and how quick you can change with just hitting right on your draft picks, and it still leaves you the ability to sign other players because those players can only make so much on their rookie deal. So I think this adds a lot of flexibility in their roster for the Chiefs going forward.
The Chiefs did obtain Juju Smith-Schuster and Marcus Valdes-Scantling. What are your thoughts over those those grabs? You think it'll be sufficient to replace a Tyreek Hill?
As a number one wide receiver, no. I think Scandling's always kind of had third wide receiver type ability and third receiver type productivity. And then Juju Smith is always at his best when he's a second wide receiver and he's not the focal point. Last couple of years, when after Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh, I think Juju really struggled to maintain, not just his health, but also when he was on the field, the ability to be the focal point. Teams were able to take him out of the game easily. That's the difference. The number one wide receiver is able to, even when you're getting double or team, to still make plays for your team. But at the same time, he's electrifying with the ball in his hands. He's fast. He kind of fits what the Chiefs do best. So, we'll see what happens. I think right now, their best wide receiver is at tight end position, Travis Kelce.
Aaron Bernstein from Sports Talk 101 says Tyreek Hill and Adams shouldn't be in the same category. Devontae is a different league than Hill.
Different wide receivers. I think both are electrifying. Tyreek, is that big play over the top, where Devontae Adams he's got a little bit, he's a guy who can catch a lot of passes, bulk amount of passes, but also, it's hard to take down in the open, field. But it's interesting, he developed such a relationship with Aaron Rodgers on the field that, it'll be interesting if both succeed without each other. As Adam's success, due to playing with the Hall of Fame quarterback, or did he help prolong Aaron Rodgers' career? So we'll see what happens and how Green Bay goes. Another team that'll probably be looking to draft a wide receiver in the early rounds, because they're bare minimum at wide receiver. Santiago, they don't have much going on.
And which segues to Aaron's question: do we see Rodgers struggle this season without Devontae?
I do think he'll take a step back. I think unless they can find out, if there's any draft to go out there and get a good wide receiver who can come on the field right now, this is the draft. There's opportunities, to find, the next big, the next Jamar Chase. But, as we stand right now, I think it's hard to imagine him taking a step forward. But I think with the division really being mediocre, mediocre is a nice term to call the Bears and Lions right now. The Vikings are a mediocre team. So you don't have to be great in that division. You don't have to be great in the NFC. We see all-stars leaving the NFC all the time now, going to the AFC. So, AFC's loaded. NFC is there for the taking.
Ray Sherrod, another Sports Talk co-host, says the Packers are taking a step way back. LOL.
I right now I have to agree with Ray.
And Aaron says I wouldn't count on the draft for the Packers. They had the opportunity to draft Justin Jefferson and threw that away by getting Rodgers' replacement.
But one thing the Packers are known for being aggressive in the draft. They're not aggressive in free agency. For years, their MO has always been built through the draft. So, they I think, with the amount of draft picks they got from the Dolphins, I think they should be able to strike at least one of these picks with a good wide receiver.
Even with the loss of Devontae, AFC North is not in play. The NFC North is not in play.
I don't see it. Unless the Vikings take a big step forward. The Bears, they might have been the biggest loser in free agency, losing Allen Robinson, losing, Mack. I don't know where they go to, poor Justin Fields back there. And then the Lions, we'll see. They got an early pick here. You see what they do with the, do they go and try playing the replacement at quarterback? Well, we'll see. We'll be learning a lot about the Lions, though, Santiago. On other news, they are this year's Hard Knocks team. So starting this summer, we'll be getting some live footage of Detroit Lions. Not live footage, but footage of their. Oh,
there should be live footage. Anyways, back to the AFC West. Now that Hill's gone of Kansas City, they only got Kelsey, of course, Juju Schuster, but it's all debatable. The Broncos loaded up as well. Raiders got Devontae Adams. The Chiefs got Mack. Is the AFC West in play, Ryan?
Absolutely. You've asked me this question a bazillion times, Santiago, and I've always said it's not in play. I said that, always say that, but every team took a step forward, and the Chiefs may took that step back, and they might be all on level ground, Santiago. This could be. There's going to be a team in the AFC West that's a good team that's not going to make the playoffs. I like this a lot to the NFC West last year. You know, the Seahawks came in last. They didn't have a great record, but I think they just got beat up by good teams. I see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a team in AFC West that might be a 7-10 team, and it could be any of those 4 teams. That's still going to be a really good team that's just going to lose out on some games. But I think 2 out of 3 wild cards definitely come from the AFC West this year. I don't know who it's going to be. You know, we'll see what happens in the draft. You know, as we said a lot of money. We still got half a year before we even step on the field, Santiago. So some things still happen. But
how would you order the AFC West right now?
To me, it's hard to go against the Chargers, Santiago. Chargers always shoot themselves on the foot, you know, with, you know, they don't play good in big games, you know, or, you know, but I Herbert, it's his time to step forward. He's got all the talent. He's shown so many glimpses of it. It's time for him, you know, to play that 17 games, you know, star quarterback season. They got some weapons. They improved on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Mac. To me, yes, I think the Chargers. I think the Broncos. We'll talk about that. You know, they obviously made upgrade in a position they absolutely needed to, and that was the quarterback. I mean, watching.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, but and like I said, you know, I think the Chiefs
right now.
I don't know that. Like I said, it's hard. I'm gonna just say the Chargers will win. But it's hard, you know. I don't think, and then you know, you look at the Raiders. You've got a really good combo. You know, I think an underrated quarterback, David Carr, kind of gets the shaft, you know, because he plays for the Raiders, and I think just playing for the Raiders, he gets a bad rap. But you know, this is a team that went to the playoffs last year, and now you add a really obviously one of the top 2 or 3 best wide receivers in football right now, Davante Adams. And not only that, these are guys that played in college together, so they obviously have a chemistry that it goes back. So, and I think this is really what Davante Adams wanted. He wanted to go back west. He wanted some familiarity in his life, you know. So, teaming up with somebody he's known for a very long time makes them very dangerous too.
Which has worked in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and we'll see. You know, Josh McDaniels. Last time he coached in the AFC West was a dumpster fire of the Broncos. But, you know, did he learn going back to New England? Did he learn the Belichick way? You know, it'll be interesting to see what kind of, you know, coaching style he has. He's kind of trying to make his own way last time. I think he's going to be a lot more, you know, buttoned down, a lot more business-like, you know. And I'm saying he wasn't professional. He just was, you know, He wanted to make his own name for the team. You know, he wanted to go out and draft Tebow and say, I can change him into what, you know, but it's just, everything he did kind of just turned against him. So we'll see a second time go around as a head coach.
Okay. All right. So Ryan says the Chargers are going to win the AFC West. Pretty excited about that. Staying with it, going to Denver, they got a quarterback named Russell Wilson, traded from Seattle. What are your thoughts? Is this going to be a night and day change for the Broncos?
Absolutely, because they've had one thing that's holding them back the last several years. You've got, you know, a really good defense the last couple of years that's giving your team a chance to win, but they couldn't never make those plays, you know, never get over the hump. You know, they've tried quarterback after quarterback. They drafted, they won free agency, and you know, they try to, you know, find magic in guys that didn't have it. Now you got a proven winner, a proven Hall of Fame quarterback, you know, probably Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl champion, you know, a guy who can raise everybody's level. I think that's the thing with, they've had quarterbacks who kind of play to the level, you know, they're not getting the best out of everybody. Now you got a team full of weapons. They invested last year in putting, you know, running back, you know, Javonte Williams. They invested in Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler's coming back from ACL, but he's, a versatile wide receiver. And then you got Alfred Omabagada, who will now be the starting tight end after they traded, Noah Fant in the Russell Wilson trade. Yeah, they gave up something because Noah Fant's I think, a top echelon tight end when he's healthy. Shelby Harris is one of the most underrated defensive tackles. So I think, that's a position look to see what the Broncos do, because that guy was good at a lot of things. He was a good run stopper. He was good at rushing the quarterback from the inside. And no one blocked more kicks than Shelby Harris. So best of luck to him, in Seattle. I think he'll be keep enjoying a nice career out there. But the Broncos now not only got him, they filled a need pass rushing, with getting Randy Gregory
from Dallas. Last minute move.
He's it was one of those things. We saw two moves like this where Randy Gregory basically claimed to terms with Dallas, about to sign a contract, but his agent. This is hearsay, so I don't want to, I'm not saying that, there was a clause in, basically would null and void his contract if he got suspended. I don't know what Randy Gregory is planning on doing now. That's another guy with a character flaws, but that he was worried about that. But, Denver came along with a similar contract signed, so obviously that adds a proven, rusher to quarterback. So that helps. They got some Billy Turner from the Green Bay, so he'll probably step into, one of the offensive line position. So we'll see. I don't know if they're Super Bowl caliber yet, Santiago. It's hard to go from the basement to the penthouse. Not everybody's a Bengals, but after 5 years of missing on the playoffs and really not even close, they come up. It seems like every year, like last year, they're 7-7 and really kind of got the whole season in front of them, and then they go. It's actually 7-6. They had the whole season in front of them, and they go on and lose the last 4 games this season. So that's kind of how, when it comes to money time, they don't have the money time quarterback. So hopefully Russell Wilson kind of brings them to the top. When they come to that crossroads.
This could be a Peyton Manning moment. Let's see what happens in Denver, and of course,
years that Peyton Manning had left. So
what was that?
Hopefully he's got more years than Peyton Manning had left when he came to Denver, but we'll see.
And to refresh your guys' memories, they got Randall Gregory, DJ Jones from San Francisco, 3 people from San Francisco, Ray, Kajuan Williams, Tom Compton. They got Alex Singleton from Philadelphia and Billy Turner from Green Bay.
Yeah, actually, the John Williams, the cornerback from San Francisco, was a really nice pickup for value. You can never have enough good cornerbacks. You can never have good offensive linemen. So adding the depth there, is key. You're always going to win free agency when you can change the face of your franchise, and that's a quarterback. And that's kind of what most people are saying with Denver right now. They give them, top 2 or 3 in free agency just because you went out there and changed your course of your franchise. If it all works out with Russell Wilson, which hopefully it does.
Where do you see Jimmy G going, Ryan?
We have
I think he's staying.
The longer we wait, the more likely, San Francisco's got a good roster, Santiago.
Debo.
I don't know if they're ready to hand that over to Trey Lance.
I heard he's
Jimmy
not ready
G
yet.
obviously is not a guy who's going to make the special plays, but he's not going to hurt you. You saw in the playoffs, he led them to the playoffs. He made enough plays, but when they needed to play against the Rams in that fourth quarter drive, he wasn't able to. That's kind of what Jimmy G is. Not a high ceiling. He's just he's a little bit better than a game manager. You're not a little, can make the plays, but it'll be interesting. Was his success last year product of Mike McDaniels and his creativity with him and Deebo Samuels, or it'll be interesting to see the post Mike McDaniels way of play calling in San Francisco.
How about Jimmy to Carolina? Because they're looking for a quarterback, I heard.
They have one in Sanders, but obviously they're not really happy with that. Obviously made a big push for Deshaun Watson that failed. And they basically said they don't want Baker Mayfield. I think I've heard that from multiple read that from multiple places. So yes, I mean that's another spot, and that's really you've got Seattle. Are they happy with Drew Lock and drafting quarterback, or they just want somebody in? But I don't think San Francisco is going to trade Jimmy G to Seattle within division. So really, the last team you're kind of looking at is Carolina. If that doesn't happen, I'm probably going to just roll with Jimmy G and Trey Lance, see what happens.
Okay. All right, let's go to the big story last week. Deshaun Watson heading to the Cleveland Browns. Big risk, but they pay him he's now one of the highest paid quarterbacks of all time. What are your thoughts over that? What was that?
He is the highest paid quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he is. Exactly. $225 million for 5 years, I believe. Huge risk by the Browns, but they had a press conference last week saying they had private investigators. They made sure this was worth it, and they got it done. Yeah,
I mean, it's a weird situation, kind of a guy, this news broke about him last year, it was really surprising. Coming out of Clemson, kind of always got a high character guy, so it's kind of weird, I think, I don't know all that happened, but he did obviously been not found, no charges filed against him, according to grand jury. So, I mean, he was open for trading, and what's weird is that, one day last Thursday, they said they come out and say, he's ruled out, was it Cleveland and Carolina, and it's really coming down to the Panthers and Saints. And then all of a sudden out of the blue is that he's going to Cleveland. So, I don't know if the money just taught, I think everybody's going to offer him around the same, but what's unique about Cleveland's deal is that it's $230 million guaranteed. Which, if you look at most NFL deals, there's that number they say, you hear like so many years for so much money, but really there's what you got to look at is how many years is it guaranteed. This is 5 years guaranteed money, all of that. So this is a huge risk, but a huge opportunity for the Browns who just acquired Amari Cooper from the Cowboys, and they'll probably be looking to acquire even, another go-to wide receiver, and maybe even bring back Jarvis Landry. Odell Beckham hasn't ruled out a return back to Cleveland, which he wouldn't really be a factor until mid to late season this year. So they're definitely they got something up their sleeves to add some more weapons, but this is a team that, has the best offensive line in football when they're healthy. Nick Chubb is, proven to be one of the best running backs. So, but you're also in a division where the Steelers always are competitive.
Winning record under Mike Tomlin.
Never been below 500 in the season. And then you've also got, the Bengals who are, don't have to say much, they went to the Super Bowl. And then you've got the Ravens who took a step back, but they dealt with Lamar Jackson's injury and he's healthy now. So I don't know. That's another division, I think that kind of aligns with the AFC West is you kind of shrug your shoulders. You have no idea what's going to happen. You can predict, but until it goes on the field, we have no idea.
So where does that leave Baker Mayfield? He has requested the trade. Brown said no. I heard he's talking to Seattle. Ryan, where do you think he'll end up next season? This season, actually.
Yeah, Seattle's really that one spot you're looking at for him. We filled in all the other spots. Do a free agency or trades. See, here's the thing, he's owed a lot of money, $19 million. So you're not going to keep on the roster, and you're not going to pay that guy $19 million just to go, sit on the bench or not even be part. Basically, he's, he doesn't want to be part of the team, and right now after acquiring Deshaun Watson, they don't want him. Browns, it's kind of mutual right now. So you gotta you're not gonna get anything or much from him. You're gonna get a late round pick, and you're probably gonna have to eat up most of that salary against your own cap, the Browns. So they're not in a good situation with that, and how much they're paying Baker Mayfield is kind of hamstrung them. I'm not Baker or Deshaun Watson. So we'll see where they go from there. I really only see him going to Seattle or And they have to, they'll wait till the last possible minute, wait for somebody to get injured, and then trade them away.
There you got it. Ryan sees the strategy. Now we're closing into the show. Back to where we started, the Dolphins. Now with Tyreek Hill, how do you see this Miami team? Better, slightly better, the same, or worse?
Well, I would say, here's the positive. You got the two fastest wide receivers in football, really, right now, with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You have one of the best up-and-coming minds in football, Mike McDaniels. I'll give you the negative. You got a quarterback, Tua, accurate, is got a very below-average arm, NFL speaking. So, you're going to have a hard, with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, what made him great is that Patrick Mahomes had arm, they could stretch the defense with. You don't have that in Miami. But you also had, you saw what Mike McDaniel was able to do with Deebo Samuels and creativity. So you're going to see a lot. I think you're going to see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle line up all over the field. I just think the Dolphins just made a lot of solid moves. Has the press been pretty solid about that down there in Santiago? Miami?
I've taken, the press has been positive. The fan says no, he can't throw that deep. He can't throw bombs to Tyreek Hill like Patrick Mahomes is. And Tua is not in that elite quarterback tier. So that's what I've been getting. Of course, the other argument is, Tua, can throw, short passes to Tyreek Hill, and he can just explode down the field.
Yeah, you can do that, but I don't. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I think that's where you got a creative mind in Mike Daniels. That's why you brought him in for what he did in San Francisco, and really kind of evolving that off. Morphing. The Shanahan offense with his own offense. Creativity, and I think you're going to see them. But not just along with the Tyreek Hill. I think they just had a really good offseason, Santiago. Solid moves. Keeping Gesicki was good. So I like the shape of the Dolphins. I think they're going to put some pressure on the Bills in that division. Put the pressure on getting to the wild card. Last year they made a great run. Just fell a little short. Then you got a little drama with Brian Flores. So we'll see what happens. There's always this. Nothing ever comes easy in South Florida. Nothing's ever.
We'll see. We'll see if McDaniel
or Jimmy Butler yelling at Eric Spoelstra on the bench the other night. There's always something going down in South Beach.
There's always something going on. Let's see if things turn around for the Miami Dolphins. But there you have it, free agency. We'll probably have more takes on it tomorrow night. Sports Talk 101 are going to flesh it out in their 1 hour pack show, 1 hour plus, because sometimes they go a little bit over, because it'll probably go over tomorrow night because there's a lot of news last week. But Ryan was able to cook it in. Last night, USA beat Panama 5-0. They got to not beat Costa Rica, but I guess a tie or not have Costa Rica score more than 6 goals. That's all we need.
Yeah. Santiago, let's bring us back 4 years ago to October of what let's say wait 2018, 2017. They had just beaten down in Orlando. They beaten, I think, Panama again. Was a almost similar score. And basically assured themselves a trip into the World Cup in 2018. All they had to do was draw against Trinidad Tobago. Mexico, all they had to do, was draw. It's so many things. It was like a 99% chance to make it. And everything went wrong that could go wrong that night, Tuesday night, Santiago. I remember Black Tuesday call for USA Soccer. If you remember that. It was, it was just like, kind of same back. I've been, you kind of see some, ever since that slow start, this round of qualifying, I think USA's been playing really well.
Good golden generation.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot. I think this is the first time, I think, under, Klinsmann, we were grasping at straws at some of these guys overseas, But now I feel like we got a firm foundation of,
for at least 8 years.
Yeah. We're not just using, using some homegrown players, and now homegrown here and then going overseas and being successful, in clubs.
Yeah.
Maybe, some good MLS guys. Obviously, and when Christian Pulisic plays like he did last night, we're not going to lose many games in CONCACAF games, especially.
Exactly. The old Chelsea player. Predictions tonight. Thunder at Portland. Who you got?
Not must-see TV. Let's just say that. Thunder, but I think the Blazers are doing all they could do to lose as many games as possible.
Chicago at the Knicks.
Those Knicks, they have a long shot at making the playoffs in the play-in, but the winners, I think, of 5 out of 6 games, pretty much ever since they told some of their veteran players to stay home and they're going to young players kind of carefree, they've kind of found themselves in the kind of refreshing basketball to watch. Sometimes when you sign those older players, you're a hit or miss. Sometimes it's just better to ride it out with young players, ride with your future. And I think that's, I kind of like, I think they got a strong case for next year going into season being a playoff team, but it might be too little too late for them this year. But anyways, this game, I am going to go with the Knicks. I think they're playing too good.
And Celtics at Toronto. Now Boston's number 1 now.
Boston's number 1. You just look at Eastern Conference, Santiago.
It fluctuates, doesn't it? You thought it was the Heat at 1 second, then it's Boston number 1. Unbelievable.
You lose one game, you win one game, you're moving up 3 or 4 spots. It's crazy. All the teams are 46, 48.
The East is competitive.
Yes, and there's really not even a big drop-off until you get to – and your best team might be your 9th place team in Brooklyn. So East is, me and Erwin will get into this next, as we finish up the NCAA tournament, but wow, we got that last couple weeks down in the Eastern Conference as we set for playoffs, because playoffs is all about matchups. But anyways, Boston got some bad news today, Santiago, with the injury to Robert Williams. They're, not say a guy
torn meniscus.
Yeah, torn meniscus. Really no timetable. Probably by the time we get to this game, we'll have an idea how many weeks, is it going to be? Obviously, the rest of the regular season, it's just a matter if he's going to get back by the first or second series. This is a guy who's defends really well, gets us, when he's defending shots, players shoot less than 40% against him. I heard a stat this morning on that. So his impact on the game is a lot. You got 2 star players who are rolling right now in Jaylen Browns and Jason Tatum, but this is when you lock down defensively like they do, you need all 5 players, and this is going to be, a major, loss for the Celtics. We'll see how they recoup. Anyways, I think they'll win tonight, though.
There you have it. NBA March Madness this weekend. A lot going on in sports, and we'll see in the NFL. NFL moves this week. Ryan, what is the best way to reach you online, and when is your show?
Oh, sure. Mad Dog Report 18 on Twitter. Ryan Christa on Facebook. Me and Erwin Dudley, former Alabama basketball player, host a Hoops Talk show. Last couple weeks we've been heavy on the NCAA tournament, but we end up that this week with the Final Four. We'll, break down those 2 games from Saturday night on Sunday, and kind of give you a preview of the national championship picture. But then, beyond that, we're going to get heavy into the NBA, with the playoffs are just around the corner. Santiago, most teams only got 7-8 games left, so we're definitely into the home stretch here, and there's a lot to play for. You do believe that with 10 playoff spots, the Lakers are on the verge of not making it, which is crazy.
That's great, and with the graceful play-in, it's still not enough for them.
Yeah, them and the Spurs, thing is, Santiago, LeBron James might be having one of his best seasons as a pro, and that's still not good enough. And that's how far this Laker team has fallen. They do get some good news. It looks like this week we probably get Anthony Davis back on the court, but he's missed the last 2 months. I don't know what he has left in the tank, So we'll see about that. And again, another team I mentioned, Brooklyn Nets get Kyrie Irving back full time now after the New York City relaxes their vaccine stance. The other question to that is, when is Ben Simmons going to come on the court?
Yeah,
that's a major key in the trading deadline. So
I'm sure he'll get a shot.
Fighting for playoff spots, which these are 2 teams I think when we probably did a preview episode, Santiago, and I can't remember exactly, but I probably said those two teams will be playing in the finals. Not two teams that are playing in the play-in games. So, wow, you can never, that's one thing about sports you can't predict.
You have to recalculate things. I predicted Purdue, but they didn't go through.
Yeah, wow, props to the St. Peter's Peacock, Santiago. Their last glorious moment is that game Saturday or Friday night against Purdue. Watching that game, it just is like Purdue's got two giant monsters down low. They got a top 5 NBA draft pick in Jaden Ivey, and those pesky Peacocks threw everything that they could at Purdue, and when their shots went in, they made key plays. Obviously, turned midnight and Harris turned a pumpkin last night, because nothing went right for them. But that's between that and just North Carolina just being destined, I think, to meet up with Duke. So
Duke, the revenge for Duke. We'll see what happens with Coach K. But yeah, this weekend, March Madness continues, and Final Four. We'll have a big show this Wednesday, and we'll definitely preview what's going to happen in the upcoming days. And of course, NBA coming to a close, NFL free agency, soccer World Cup qualification Wednesday, hockey. We haven't gotten to hockey yet, but we'll talk about that later.
Hockey coming down the stretch. You got baseball.
Baseball starting up.
Yeah, next week we're at opening day, Santiago. We're at the call this the crossroads. You got a lot going on here.
A lot going on. Sports Talk 101's tomorrow night. We got Jersey boys. Breda's joined the Giants. What the heck?
Those guys love to talk to New York City and New York Giants football. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't see much hope in them this season, but maybe Washington with their new quarterback Carson Wentz, which I have not heard from you about that.
This guy, he had chances in Philadelphia, failed. He got his coach that from Philadelphia who loved him. He goes to Indianapolis, and basically they pay money to have him shipped out. So that's kind of what you have to know about Carson Wentz. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he gets frustrated when things don't go his way.
Yeah. And he's not a locker room guy either.
No, I heard some things which were shocking to me, about kind of having sour grapes about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl without him being the starting quarterback and Nick Foles getting all the credit.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I don't know, that's kind of, hearsay, and I'm not going to. But, there's a reason why this is his third team in 3 years, so we'll see.
The drama continues, and you can see the drama on the sportscast.net or the app, the Sportscast for iOS. And looking forward to another good week in sports. Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. I hope wherever everybody's listening to is warmer than 22 degrees as it is here in Rochester. Kind of big news here in Western New York. We're getting a new football stadium here. So,
that's right. It got approved this morning at the NBA meetings up here in Palm Beach.
Yeah. So happy for me. My tax bill will be going up courtesy of the NFL.
What's the name going to be, you think? Like Barstool or
we'll see.
Tim Horton Stadium?
We'll see. Highmark's an insurance company up here. It's got naming rights to the football stadium right now. We have, New Era Cap is big in Western New York, so we'll see if they pony up the money. But it's probably the fanciest thing to ever come to Western New York, though. That's for sure.
It's about time. Ryan Wilson Stadium was getting old.
Yeah. When you got a stadium that expensive, you need to help foot that bill. So we'll definitely have a naming rights to that stadium, believe me.
And it's still home field advantage. Well, anyways, Ryan, thanks for coming on, and this was your update.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.